Well, hello everybody. I'm here at the darkness, as you can see, and I'm making another video. This one I'm making from the darkness, and a lot of work has been done. And I've seen a lot of comments from people, pro and con, right? And so I'm going to show you some of the things that we've done already in our new haunt. And so I want to explain a few things and make it really clear. And inside, the haunt is really loud. So I'm going to explain some of these things out here. And then I'm going to go inside and show you a few things that's going on in there. So first off, the Darkness Haunted House Tour for Transworld 2026 is for sale. It's for sale right now at darkness.fearticket.com. And I just want to outline what all is going on, okay? So on Thursday, which I think is March the 26th, we're doing a behind the scenes tour. It's limited to 275 people. You get to come through, you get to take photos, videos. We have like a little seminar that we're going to do. And if you buy the tickets between now and March the 1st, it's cheaper. After March the 1st, it goes up, okay? So for the entire month of March, all the tickets prices go up. So if you buy them now, right now, darkness.fearticket.com, you come to the behind the scenes tour on Thursday. There will be no fog, so you can walk through the haunted house and see everything. Now, I'm going to tell everybody one of the reasons why you want to come to this particular behind the scenes tour is because the things that we've done to the haunted house this time around, and again, a lot of this stuff was done after Transworld last year. Now let me explain what the difference between this Transworld and last Transworld. Last Transworld, they had it on like February the 15th or something crazy like that. This year, it's literally 5 weeks later, okay? Do you know how long it actually took to get the darkness and everything that we were doing last year finished? About 5 weeks after Transworld. So that means, hopefully, everything that we're going to do for 2026 will actually be done. That's the goal. Our other goal is to try to get everything done by Valentine's, which is February the 13th. So, but if you come to the behind the scenes tour, you can pretty much touch everything, take pictures, videos. You get to go in our actors room. There's like I said, a seminar. You can come in here, you can go into the gift store. We answer any and all questions. It's actually the best tour by far, okay? On Friday and Saturday, we're doing live with actors, limited to 500 people. Why limited to 500 people? Because we want to give people the best experience. So we're gonna space people out pretty as far as we can because people go through so slow, okay? So we're gonna try to pace people out. So it's limited to 500 people. And once again, it's cheaper if you buy the tickets between now and March the 1st. Another kind of ticket you can buy, by the way, is a secret bar experience. That means, and there's only 20 per slot. So I want to be clear about something. With the live actors, it's Friday and Saturday, and we open from 6:45 to 9:15, meaning like the last time slot you can buy is 8:45. So each time slot is 30 minutes, and inside that 30 minutes, you have, we're only doing 100 people per. And then we are also on the secret bar, it's 20 people per time slot. Because when you do the secret bar, you don't actually get in line, you just walk up, we scan your ticket, we let you in, we give you a VIP badge. And what happens is, when you get to the top of the steps, When you go through the first floor of the haunted house, when you get to the top of the steps, somebody would be there. They'll see that you have the badge. They'll let you in the secret bar. A lot of people, our secret bar is really, really cool. A lot of times people don't want to leave, but that's why we're only doing 20 per 30 minutes. So it gives everybody about 30 minutes before they kind of start, heading out. And so then, you come into the secret bar, you hang out for a little while, then you get put back in the haunted house and you go through the rest of it. So there's only 20 per slot, and there's only 5 slots. Okay, so that means there's only 100 of those tickets. So get your tickets now at darkness.fearticket.com. So with all that being said, I saw somebody in the comments today. No, it wasn't on YouTube, it was on Facebook, where they said, he says every year this is going to be the last tour. So let me tell you a couple things, okay? And I've said this before, but on the year that COVID happened, obviously there was no Transworld, so we didn't have a haunt tour. But the next year they did have a Transworld and we didn't open at all. We did not open. And then the year after that, we did not do a haunt tour. With about 7 days to go before the show, my staff was like begging me to go ahead and do something. So we did a behind the scenes tour, announced it 7 days. So we didn't do any live actors or anything, and we limited to like 275 people. So 275 people went in and over a 3-year period. And then the following year, we did the same thing. I really wasn't up for doing a haunt tour. And I think it was about 8 days before Transworld, we said, we'll do another behind the scenes tour. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Over a period of 4 years, we either didn't open at all, or we only did a behind the scenes tour and it was only for 275 people. So it wasn't a big deal. Last year was the first time that we said, okay, we're doing a real haunt tour. We did the Limp, we did the Darkness, we did a behind the scenes tour. Okay, that also included the escape rooms and everything. So that was the first time we did anything like that in 5 years. Okay. So I want to say this because this is absolutely true. I never planned on doing haunt tours ever, because I'm the one who I am the one who essentially got this show started. I mean, that's true. I don't need to go into all the details again. I've explained it before. But I helped do the Vegas haunt tour when Transworld moved their Chicago, show to Vegas. And it turned out to be a disaster. They planned on giving people food. They didn't regulate how much you could take. Food ran out. A bus got lost. People didn't like the haunts. They were just trailer haunts. And people complained about it for literally months on the Hauntworld Fright Forum. And so when Transworld opened, or when they finally agreed to do a haunt-only show, best decision they ever made, okay? Jen Thaler, I'm not throwing her under the bus, I'm just telling you what happened. She said, yeah, I hear you're not opening your haunted house. What's this? And I said, no, I'm not opening my haunt. Are you crazy? Didn't you see what happened with the Vegas haunt tour? You think I actually want to put myself through that kind of ridicule? Hell no. And I'm not lying, because this did happen. She flipped out on me. And I understand why she flipped out on me. Because I put a lot of pressure on them to do this show. They were under a lot of pressure because their big retail show was under siege by the retailers. I mean, they were just dealing with a lot of stress. So they agreed to do this haunt show that they really honestly I don't think anybody thought was going to work. I was probably the only one, to be honest with you. But back on the old Fright Forum on Hauntworld, I mean, that's all people talked about was this is never going to work. The show wasn't that big, but I think it was like 5,000 people came, and every aisle was just overloaded with people. And look how it's grown today. It's now as big as the entire convention center with over 10,000 people coming. It's crazy. But anyway, I believe that Jen thought that if I didn't open my haunt for a haunt tour, and nobody really thought this was going to work anyway, that it was going to be a negative on the show. So I started thinking about, I kind of did, bend and break some arms to get this done. And then I guess it is pretty weak on my part not to open. So I said, okay, fine, I'll open, Jesus, okay? And then I just went crazy trying to get the haunt done. This entire building that you see, this was an add-on to the building. And like, I had no plans on doing a haunt tour, I swear to God, because we were building this building right here. I'm like, we couldn't get it done in time for Transworld, plus build a haunt in it, a retail store, a museum, and everything else. I'm like, are you crazy? Plus we had to renovate the haunted house. Literally, I had 20 people working every day from the time the haunt closed all the way, not including the people working on building this building. It was quite the undertaking. And I'll never forget this, but it snowed on the day that we were opening the darkness. It snowed. And we didn't open on time because of one simple mistake. We didn't charge radios. We didn't have radios. No one can communicate. It was a cluster. I never did that before. Normally, every year prior to then, whenever I opened on the first day, we probably sometimes didn't open for an hour, maybe two, because we weren't ready to go. So I was actually never used to opening on time and being ready to go. That was something that these haunt tours taught me. They taught me how to be ready on time exactly when you say you're going to be ready, or even be ready before you say you're going to be open. Because I was run through the coals. I was literally burned at the stake, okay, after the event was over. And I was very disappointed because I know how much I spent that year. It was $1.2 million to do that haunt tour because it included finishing this building. The foundation was already done, but the steel was going up and we were rushing everybody, and then we had to build the haunt in here and everything. We renovated big chunks of the haunted house. All together it was like $1.2 million. And all people did was just rag on me online because we didn't open on time, like it's my fault it snowed. And you know what happened after that? I said, the hell with this. I am never opening for the haunt industry again. I'm being completely honest with you. I was like, screw you, okay? I literally killed myself. My crew killed themselves to get all this stuff done. Spent money like it was going out of style. And all people did was cry like babies. I was so pissed off. I was like, F you, okay? I'm just being honest. And then after I was like calming down, which took me several months to do. And I'll never forget in there, Jen Thaler even called me. And she was like so ecstatic that the show went so well. But she calls me and she's just like, Larry, what happened at your haunt tour? Everybody's like saying negative things. And I was like, yeah, thanks, rub it in. And it is what it is, okay? But I was just like, F you, I'm never doing this again. I don't give a crap. You couldn't pay me enough to do another haunt tour. That's how I felt. And then about, 4 months went by. And as we're getting ready for the actual haunt season, after I was good and calmed down and everything's cooled off online, I was like, you know what? Screw these people. I'm not going out like that because I'm a real competitor, okay? I wrestled, I kickboxed, I did all that. I mean, you'd have to kill me to beat me, okay? If you beat me, then I'm back at it. I just want a rematch 10 minutes later, okay? I was the same way when I was coaching baseball. It doesn't matter. I just hate losing at anything. If you beat me, I double down, okay? And so after I cooled off, I decided I'm gonna do a haunt tour. And now that we don't have to build a building, maybe we can actually get it open on time, and maybe we can do a better job. And just gonna give it a second try. And we did. And you know, there were still people who complained, but we did much better. And I have to say, over all of these tours we've done, and I don't even know how many there are, 16 of them or something, each and every single time our goal was to go over the top and do more and more and more. And it really has a lot to do with that first year being run over the coals and criticized. So I said to myself, I will never do a haunt tour unless I have done something really amazing, something worth doing the haunt again, okay? So when you think about it, people came to the haunt tour last year. Do they really want to spend that much money to come again? We just came last year. So if you're not going balls out, over the top, to the moon and back, what is the point? People saw it last year. Another way to look at it was, well, wait a minute, you know, 2 years, 3 years, they're going to come and they didn't go last year. So, you know, they're going to see what you did last, you know, whatever. But that's not how my brain works. My brain is super, super competitive, okay? I've always been that way. So I don't care. I'm going to go all out or I'm not doing it at all. That's just the way I think, okay? So, and I know this has been a long speech, but last year when the haunt tours were going on at Philadelphia, some of those people called me and said, "Oh my God, I'll never do this again. We lost so much money doing it. How is it that you've done it so many years in a row?" And well, number one, it's because you have a passion for it. You have a passion for creating things, doing something new. Which, in all honesty, running haunted houses isn't that much fun, but you know, getting creative and doing something you haven't done before kind of is. So that kind of keeps me motivated. So, but here's the deal. I've done enough of these haunt tours to last me a lifetime. And you know what? It's been a lot of fun, like building the scenes and like seeing what we could do to top each other from one season to the next. But if I was being completely honest with you, literally, especially like over the last couple years, I've been like, it's been harder and harder and harder for me to be motivated, to help, to work, to come down here every day, to deal with all the stress and everything else. It's been a lot of work and it costs a ton of money. When your mindset is you've got to go over the top and you've got to do something you normally wouldn't do because it's the haunt industry, it's very costly. I mean, for all these haunt tours, I don't know how many millions I've spent, but it's at least $6-7 million. Think about what I could have done. I could have invested in like NVIDIA and and how much money would I have today? I mean, it would be $100 million. So, but no, I bought monsters and I renovated things and so on and so forth. But like now, it's just getting harder and harder for me to do that. And so, what I think is that what I need to do is, at the very least, take an entire year off of no haunt tours, no renovations. It's not even about haunt tours. It's about no renovations. It's about not spending all this money and just taking a break. And maybe next year, like when I feel completely unbound to the darkness, I could just go on trips. I can, I'm thinking about buying a house in Florida. I mean, what would you rather spend your winter, in St. Louis or Florida? I could be doing other things, you know. It would be a huge burden lifted off my shoulders. You know, people say all the time, you know, he says this, he said this before, yeah, because every single time I've done a haunt tour, it was so taxing getting to and through the haunt tour. The happiest day of my life every year is the day, the minute that the last haunt tour runs and the last person walks out the door. I'm so happy because I just feel like a gorilla just got off my back. And I'm being honest with you. And it was last year we did this event called Halfway to Halloween because a lot of haunts do it. And when we did that, I just felt like totally worn out. Like not a gorilla on your back, but an elephant and 2 hippos. And I was just like, this is not worth it. I don't care how much money it makes. I burnt myself out. Because what's different between me and everybody else in the haunt industry, because the show's here in St. Louis, and you kind of carry this burden of opening your haunts for it, you go from Halloween right back to Halloween. I mean, it's crazy, okay? And it's very costly, and it's very burdensome and stressful. And so I've just decided, I mean, I just have no interest in doing it anymore. And I actually had a conversation just today with Jen Thaler. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, Jen, I'm just letting you know, I don't plan on doing these anymore. But we're going to do the one this year, and we'll see. And I told her, too, like, in the future, if she wanted to run a haunt tour here, like with no changes, no updates other than repairing it, I would consider like leasing it to her so she could run her own event. And that's maybe. And you know, who knows, maybe like I'll want to do another haunt tour next year because I just don't have anything better to do. Okay? But the way that I'm like thinking and planning my future from here is I'm thinking more along the lines of doing something different and taking that stress and burden off my shoulders to free me up to do something else. Does that make sense? So that's just where I'm at, and I thought I would explain that. Now, you can get your tickets at darkness.fearticket.com, and I want to say, before we go in the haunted house and take a look at some really cool stuff that we've done, I wanted to say that, you know, I've always appreciated people who've come, and I know that a lot of people go online and they run their mouth and they say wild things, but mostly, you know, things that completely are not true. And it doesn't really get to me, doesn't really bother me. I focus on the people who come. I don't care about the people who don't come. I care about the people who do. That's why I can't go to Transworld, because I'm more focused on making sure we open on time and everything's working. The whole place is clean, ready to go. And so those are my priorities, okay? And so that'll be my priority again this year. And opening the Darkness 2 nights in a row, it actually will be 3 nights in a row. I've never done that before, ever. So I'm really putting a lot of pressure on myself. It would be better for me to do 1 night only and only pay actors once, but I want people to get the best experience. So let me just say, if you haven't been to the Darkness before, or you haven't been here in a couple years, or even if you were here last year, it's going to be the best version ever. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you really quick exactly what we're doing. This slaughterhouse here last year, as I've already explained in many videos, it was very difficult to try to get it all the structure of it done prior to Transworld. So right there at the tail end, with Transworld only a few days away, we were just trying to figure out anything to throw in the rooms. And one of the things we threw in the rooms really literally at the last minute was a barrel maze with lasers and a hazer, because it was the only thing we could do, because the whole event came up on you so fast. So we've taken that out. We've replaced that. There was also a hallway that really didn't look the best, so we have redone that. We've also gone back in and we're trying to create a facade, an entry facade, and we're adding all kinds of little special effects all through the place and a few new animatronics. So when you go through this new slaughterhouse this year, it's going to be very much improved. You're gonna see scenes like where you go, oh, okay, that is more like it, you know, more like the darkness. And we're almost done with, it's probably gonna take another day or so, another day, maybe two, and the whole slaughterhouse will be done. And then everything will be focused on nothing but the downstairs. Now, I want to say that I also bought a lot of cool animations to replace old ones, and I was talking to Bo today from Unit 70. He's not sure he's going to get them all done in time, which is fine. But I said, hey, make sure you get the Frankenstein ones done, because we're building the Frankenstein scene, so we got to have those. And I think that he's going to have those done for me. So the Frankenstein scene now is going to be 2 rooms instead of 1. And the first room is going to really be a scene built around that big Frankenstein head that we took to Transworld last year that Unit 70 made. And then the second room is going to focus on the Bride of Frankenstein. Now, what's really different is that all the rooms we're doing now are programmed. So either you can activate it with like a motion or a button, or it can be on a show controller. Now, after Transworld last year, we did build the secret bar. If you go on the behind the scenes tour, you can see that, or if you come, you can buy a ticket to the secret bar. And then we also started programming a lot of the scenes, mostly upstairs in the second floor. And so nobody got to see any of that. Now, the main focus has been working this slaughterhouse into like a little bit more refined haunt. And then I bought lots of stuff to sprinkle everywhere that may or may not be in. But the Frankenstein is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a totally programmed scene. Like, you walk in, you're going to get a show. And so it's going to be really, really, really cool. At least I hope so. And so other than that, we're going to do like a light show in the queue line. Unit 70 is also making me a new character. It's going to be a big Grim Reaper. If we get it in and we get it in place and get it active and running, that'll be great. But yeah, the haunt is going to be very, very, very different. But sorry for the long rant, but I kind of had to explain all of this. Now we're going to walk in the haunted house and we're going to take a look at some of the things that we've been working on inside the haunted house. Now, for those who didn't come last year, we added these in here last year. You press these buttons right here and you can make these reels. So he's a big animation from Unit 70, as is him, the creature here. And you press these buttons, they go off. And then we also had added that electric chair over there that the customers can pull the trigger on. The other thing that we did last year that was all new was, and I don't have the key to the gift store, but we made the gift store like tremendously bigger. Let me pan across here. It is tremendously bigger, and I mean tremendously. So, anyway. So let's walk in the haunted house. Now it is very noisy and I'm going to talk really loud so you can hear me. So let's go on in and give it a little peek. Now the overhead lights are on. Now the first thing I'm going to show you as I'm walking through. Is this room right here. We redid this room right here. And it is not done. It is not done, but it's getting there. Now, hold on, let me turn around to show you. and I'm going to explain what we did differently. As you can see, everything in here. Now, we repainted the whole room. But do you see how we added this steel? This grated steel at the bottom? That gave it more of an industrial feel. We took out a lot of the bodies because it was too much. And then these were built. They're not painted yet. But to kind of sort of put like the dead bodies on like a platform. And you can see that again over here. And there was a tremendous amount of dead bodies in here. It was overkill. Now, another thing we changed in here is there's going to be an animation going here. This right here used to be here, but now it's going to be an animation. It'll have kind of like that triangle, diamond-shaped steel blocking it. There'll be an animation there. And then this was moved here. This scare, because it's right next to where the actor can get out. You see that? So now they can scare you and just jump out at the same time. Before, that was over here, so you'd have to walk from over there to over there. Now it's more efficient, okay? And you can see another one of these right here. Now let's go look at some other things that we did. Now look, you walk in and you're greeted by this pig. Now, we're also going to be doing a facade here, and we've already started cutting another pig and a sign, and it'll all be lit, and so you'll know that you're going into the slaughterhouse. Look at that pig right when you walk in. And if you didn't notice, we added this siren that you heard. Isn't that loud? We're taking a lot of stuff we have on the shelf and just kind of adding it. Now, this is the new section, and you'll see like the lights are programmed. There's more theming going on. That's an animation, but it's not hooked up yet. You can see the lights are programmed. Now here I got a light. Now, one of the things that I really like that we did was everywhere in this haunt, you can see through a space, into another space, into another space. And we kept that going here. So this, if an actor runs up, they can scare you with that. Now these actually, if you look, you'll see water is dripping down this dead body, and it does the same thing over here as well. And you can see this barrel was taken and tipped over and split. And you can see we got the CGI in, and it shows like a Leatherface type character as a shadow effect, and he's cutting up bodies. And then you come over here, and none of this stuff is done. That dead body right there blocks going in the wrong direction. Now, this is where the actor comes in. Now watch this. Did you see that? So you press this and you get this like whole show. But the fog didn't go off. I don't know why. There we go. That is a new fog machine from Froggy's Fog. We put it up in the ceiling. It also has lights. And so you're gonna get hit, and then the actor with a chainsaw will come out of here and scare you. He'll press the button, you'll get hit with the fog. Now, another thing you'll notice up there, there's a piston hooked to that light. So that light is gonna go back and forth, wiggling back and forth at all times. What do you think? What do you think? And then we added this over here. So when I tell you that we're adding a lot of new effects, well, that's exactly what I mean. We're adding a lot of new effects. Now, another thing that goes in here is there's an animation that hangs over this. Now look at this. You probably, look at the detail here. Bloody, gooey water is pouring out of the sink. And an animation goes right here. That's coming in from Poison Props, and it's going to be here next week. So we'll be putting it. I think I only bought like 6 animations, so there's 5 or 6, and they're going to be strategically placed in that haunt and a couple other areas where we felt we needed to replace something. So when we talk about this slaughterhouse, we're also talking about redoing the tunnel as well. And so all these things are being done. So when you go through the slaughterhouse, when you walk up, there will be a facade. You're greeted by this, you know, like this porky pig. And all these little effects will catch you all along the way. Program scenes, program lighting. So yes, it's going to be drastically different. And I can walk through with a camera and so on and so forth, but I you know, it's not as cool as if you're here. Now, it's not done. We have a lot more to do, and there's a bunch of animatronics coming in and more props. And you know what I did today? I bought like every second that Ghost Ride has. It's going to be a huge crate of arms, legs, brains, livers, heads, you know, all this, everything you could think of is coming. So we're going to have a ridiculous amount of body parts to add to some things that we want to do, especially in the Frankenstein. So our goal at the moment is to get this particular space completely done, sweep it up, get all the tools out, transfer to Frankenstein, and work on Frankenstein until it's done. And then the last thing we're going to do is put in whatever new animations we get as we get them. And then we're going to walk through the whole haunted house, repair and fix any of the animatronics, fix any of the lighting, fix any of the sound effects, turn the darkness off. And then what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to try to redo Frankenstein escape room, hopefully. And then we're going to be trying to put in a game show in our mini golf space, or part of the mini golf space. And we're going to try to improve our mini golf. It's going to be a little smaller, but the holes will be cooler. So we have a lot to do. And we also have 7 mini golfs to build. So it's a little overwhelming at the moment. So there's your update. And you can get your tickets at darkness.fearticket.com. Now, yesterday when I did a video, I said that I was going to have a whole conversation about things I think haunted house vendors should make. But considering this video is already 39 minutes long, I think that I'll talk about it here for about 5 minutes, okay? And I need to get going because I have to do something. And today was my son's birthday. Happy birthday to River. But here's the deal. The reason why I wanted to pair walking through the haunted house tonight with talking about what vendors should or shouldn't be making at Transworld 2026. Look, I just want to say this. There's a lot of amazing vendors, okay? And making a lot of amazing things, no doubt about it. And kudos to all those people. However, I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say, I think a lot of the vendors, they just bring the same thing every year, maybe a little change here and there. Look, if you're making a dead zombie, oh, but we sculpted a new zombie. What's the difference? Nobody can tell the difference. It's just, okay, it's a new zombie, I guess. Okay. Oh, we made a Grim Reaper. Okay. Like we haven't seen that before. I think that the people who will be really successful are the people who can say, you can go on my website and you can see everything that we made in the past. Don't even bring that stuff, okay? Let me give a tip to every vendor. Buy a 100-inch television. Make a video and show all of your props and animations or whatever it is that you bring, that you sell, that you didn't bring with you. And you could put a scan code on the video, so if you want that, you could scan it, okay? And then, you know, you can place an order for it. And just bring new stuff. Bring stuff that we haven't seen before. Don't bring the things that we've already seen 1,000 times. And by the way, if you make figures, for example, why would you make more zombies? There was a famous, a cult classic called Return of the Living Dead, and they had a Tar Man zombie. That's one thing. Hey, I made a Tar Man type zombie. I did something different with zombies that you don't see or haven't seen at Transworld before. Great. But think about it this way. If you're making full-size figures, doing something that hasn't been done before, like a theme, okay? Like, you know, if you did all clowns, for example, well, that's kind of a bad idea because everybody does that. But like, if you did like all sea creatures, for example, well, probably anybody who wanted to do a sea creature scene would be coming to you, right? Plus, you have everything you've done in the past. Everything we do this year is going to be a theme. Has anybody seen The Christmas Story? When she says, we're going to write a theme. I would like to see, like somebody brings a whole collection of stuff that would go in a greenhouse. Stuff that would just go in an asylum. Stuff that would go, you know, themes, okay? Stuff we haven't seen before. What if you did like all the characters from Wizard of Oz? Tin Man, Lion, not Oompa Loompas, but, you know, Munchkins, Dorothy, and they were all horrible. Or, you know, these movies have been really popular, like this Winnie the Pooh, and then they're also doing other movies, like I think they did a Popeye as well. What if you did, your whole theme was cartoons, and you could get a Roger Rabbit, a Popeye, you could get a Dorothy, you could get a Bugs Bunny, for example, and you're not going to call it Bugs Bunny. It's going to be like a scary version, and it's all like twisted cartoon characters. And by the way, I just literally gave you the best idea you're going to hear, because if you took a bunch of iconic cartoon characters and you made like twisted, horrible versions, like, you know, you think about Winnie the Pooh, okay, and you had all these characters, people would run to your booth. They would run to your booth. You know why? Because you have something no one's ever seen before. Now, if you do a whole booth of monks, or you do a whole booth of clowns, or you do a whole booth of zombies, who cares? Every other booth has that. But you did all twisted cartoon characters. There's a twisted Woody the Woodpecker. I mean, like, you'll be going viral. Your booth would go viral, 100%. Imagine making a Count Chocula or a Frankenberry. And the list goes on. They're all, you know, like twisted, murderous characters. I think that would be pretty popular. And you know what? I would have a hard time not buying the whole set. I'll give you another example. What if this year you did nothing but leprechauns, okay? And you had a whole collection of leprechauns. And I've seen somebody do a leprechaun and its arms are down. I'm talking about leprechauns that are posed and doing different things. So you could buy a whole set of 6 or 7 or 8 leprechauns, and one's got a bucket of gold that also is mixed with fingers or a hand. Another one's got a hatchet, okay? And the list goes on, right? And so you do a scene and you walk into it and you're being attacked by leprechauns, okay? Not one leprechaun, but every leprechaun is literally doing something different. All horrible, right? Would that be popular? Let me show you this over here. What is this? You see that nun right there? It's pretty scary, actually. What if you had a whole booth and everything you had was religious? That would be pretty cool. Wouldn't you be stepping over the line if you had like a zombie Jesus and the Mother Mary, but like she's pregnant and a baby's bursting out, and you had nuns and priests? Hopefully you're just kind of sort of getting the gist of what I'm talking about. Do something different. Don't bring clowns. Don't bring zombies. We've seen it all before. Now look at this right here. What if somebody brought nothing but photo ops? Cool characters doing cool things, where, you know, you grab on to a shotgun and it looks like you're shooting some zombie's head off, or, you know, you got a chainsaw, and there's 100 million ways to go with that, and you had about 8 or 10 of them. Guess what? I think your booth would be very, very popular. Now, when it comes to animatronics, I think every new animation company has what I would call the poison prop syndrome. You're basically just kind of sort of following in their footsteps, and you're just kind of making something similar. Because when you really think about a poison props animation, it's a mechanism with clothes and a mask and hands. And people who don't have the ability to do what Bo does, sculpt those big monsters, that's the kind of animations they make. Okay, I'm gonna make a scarecrow. Yeah, good for you. You buy a scarecrow mask, you put overalls and a flannel shirt, and wham, you got an animation. One of the animations that went completely viral for me on my TikTok was that praying mantis from Never Mortis. And when I seen that, I was like, well, that's not scary. It's just kind of like a little showpiece. But the way people fly through these haunted houses, nobody would even ever see it. That's what I was thinking. And but I took a video of it anyway, and it went completely viral. I mean, it went completely insane. When I think about Never Mortis and how they focused on nothing but bugs, I think that was a good idea, but I think some of the bugs they made into animations just weren't good enough. Like the mosquitoes just didn't make sense, but that praying mantis did. You know what would be really cool is if somebody did focus on a bunch of bug animations. Because people are scared of cockroaches, believe it or not. They see one, you see people like just run because they're terrified of cockroaches. But yes, I think Never Mortis is onto something here of doing a whole booth just on nothing but like, you know, killer bugs and whatnot. And there's a lot of killer bugs to do something with. I think you could do half of a centipede. I think Never Mortis could do a centipede where you kind of see half the body of the centipede, or maybe you see the whole thing, and the pinchers are literally pinching him in half and he's screaming. It would be very similar to the praying mantis. And that's just an example. I don't think there's anything wrong with them continuing in the same vein. You know, when you think about, man, my nose. When you think about doing a big giant hornet or a wasp, you know, and you think about like somebody getting stung in the head, and then you had like that big old stinger, and it just kept going into his eye socket or whatever, and he's got like, think about it, like the body, the head, has got like bubbles all over his face and his body because, you know, he's been stung and he's having an allergic reaction. Yeah, that would be freaking hilarious. I think those are the kind of animations that go viral. So for me, I would rather see some things like this. Now, I always say, and I think a lot of you out there watching this video, especially vendors, are going to have to admit, yeah, you know what? Larry's very creative, okay? He has great ideas. I could start my own animation company, and trust me, I would knock it out of the park. But I don't want the aggravation, okay? It's a lot of work to make these things, and it's stressful, and I don't need that stress. So kudos to everybody who do, okay? Because you do an amazing job, and you provide amazing products. I mean, you can see them here. But what I don't want to see, and I have to, like, if I'm bringing up Scare Factory for a second, because their booth, for the last 2 years, they really have had the best booth. I mean, they're really nice, really cool looking. But I said to David Falkman, it's like, you know, what you're making here, you've made enough stuff for like a haunted trail or a hayride. Can you make stuff that you can actually get into a haunted house and make some cool stuff that's smaller? I mean, seriously. I would like to see Scare Factory do some stuff that can go in a haunted house. Most of that big stuff that they've been making is very spectacular and really cool looking. I give them total kudos because they've done an amazing job over the last couple of years. And but I would like to see them put their efforts towards making props and animations that could actually fit inside of a haunted house. I'm talking about an indoor haunted house, because I think they've made enough stuff with pumpkin heads and so on and so forth. It's time to do something different, I think. So let me just say this. I think vendors want to see something they haven't seen before. Imagine if you were selling some sort of plasma, you know, like where green electrodes are flying through tubes. Where's that at? Those shocker sticks are amazing. Maybe they need to make something else, okay? That's similar, gets a similar scare, but themed differently. I would love to see that. I would just like to see people try to do something that's out of their comfort zone. And I'll give you one more example, and I said this to one of the companies. When you look at that right there, you see that hanging diver. If you haven't been to the darkness in a few years, we had a scene, we had all these tentacles, you know, and you push through the tentacles. I'd love to see somebody focus on nothing but like I Know What You Did Last Summer / underwater. So you have like hanging sharks, hanging fish, hanging tentacles, etc., 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 etc. Okay, that just would be another example of, hey, oh yeah, if I'm looking for anything aquatic, he's got everything. Wouldn't it be cool to get an animation too, where like think about Poison Props, one of their kicking, slashing around torsos, and it was like laying on like some sort of ramp up. It was a sinking ship, and he's kicking and thrashing around. He's only a torso, and there's like a giant shark like trying to eat the rest of them because the shark has already got the other half. Wouldn't it be funny too if you had a shark and there was like, you know, you think about the kicking, screaming kids, but a shark that popped up and you got like 2 feet kicking and dangling, and the shark is chomping down, and bursts of air blasts come out. That would be hilarious. There's so many things. I think the animations that go viral are the ones where they're really cool looking, but they're also hilarious. When you think about the Pennywise, the kicking, screaming kid, it's really cool looking. It's not necessarily scaring you, but you're like, think it's hysterical. And I think those are great for haunted houses, not just the animations that jump out. Now, another thing that I'll say about animations really quick, I think all animation companies should stop making animations with scissor mechanisms where they jump out 4 or 6 feet. There's nowhere to put those in a haunted house. And secondly, they're not scary. They're not scary because they're literally leaping off the wall forever. And you can literally see them like almost like it's in slow motion. I mean, it's one thing if they jump out 2 feet, but there is no need for an animation that comes out 4, 6, 8 feet. It's just ridiculous. There's nowhere to put it. Stop making them. They're pointless. Anyway, one other thing that I would say that I think a lot of haunts would love to have is, you know, what if somebody made a kit to convert your escape room into a Krampus escape room? Like, you buy this kit and you take your escape room, and for Christmas you get this kit for 10 grand, and you put these props and you put this here and you put this there, and bam, your haunted house goes from this to Krampus. That would be pretty cool. I also think, you know, like, and by the way, I'm just thinking of this right off the top of my head. What if somebody came with like an all alien theme, and you have like Mars Attacks type characters, and that would be cool because there would be a market for it. But anyway, the other thing I was going to say was, if people sold like kits to where you could make your room animated, like, okay, this goes off, this loud sound goes off, lights flicker, lights shutter on and off, and you just buy a kit, you plug it into one thing, you plug it in, you're ready to go. I think people would like that. I think at the end of the day, and getting back to patting myself on the back, is I only said that because I think it's very important that vendors stop pretending that they've got all the answers. They should be calling the haunted house owners and polling them, getting their feedback. What do you need? What do you want? What should I make? Doesn't mean you have to listen to them, but you'll find that you're going to get a lot of ideas. Now, I'm going to tell you that I've worked with a lot of vendors, and a lot of the stuff that you see that you can buy out there was something that I asked the vendor to make specifically for me for the Darkness Haunt Tour. That turned out to be huge sellers for them. So I've given a lot of vendors a lot of great ideas, a lot. And I'm not the only one who has great ideas. I think vendors should call their biggest clients. They should be talking to them now because you still have time to make stuff. And you should just be asking people like, what do you want? What do you need? What's rooms you want to build next year? What's the most popular rooms in your haunted house? What do you need more of? Do you have an idea that you think I could make for you? That's what vendors should be doing. If you want to get out of the same old, that's what I would do. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it. And I think we covered a lot of ground here today. Now, I might not be making a video for the next few days or so. And I'm not going to make a video every single day. But I have talked to people who say, you know, when they're working or something, they just pop on my video and they listen. And I really appreciate that. And like I said before, I haven't done a seminar for anyone, I think, since 2019. It's not because people haven't asked, because of course they ask. But I just have no interest. I started losing interest in doing haunt tours around the same time that I said I don't really want to do seminars anymore. So this is not just idle talk, okay? I haven't done seminars because I don't want to. I just don't want to. And if I called Transworld tomorrow and say, hey, I'll do 5 seminars, they'd sign me up. If I said, hey, I'll do a seminar at Midwest Haunters Convention, which I've never been to, they would say, yeah, we'd love to have you. It's not an issue if people don't want me. And like even at IAPA, in order to speak at IAPA, you have to make a presentation, you have to submit yourself. I haven't submitted myself. I'm sure they would love to have me speak on these topics. I just don't want to, okay? And guess what else I don't want to do? I don't necessarily want to do any more haunt tours because I don't want to spend a bunch of money on improvements that the local market here in St. Louis, it's not going to change the trajectory if I'm going to get more people or less people or anything else. It's just a vain thing to do, really. But you know, at the same time, it's been fun for me. But I think I need to take a break. I took a break from doing seminars. I did actually take a break from doing haunt tours, and I eased myself back into it over 3 years to last year. And I decided, you know, I really want to build this Frankenstein room. That's why I'm doing a haunt tour this year, because I said to myself, after I spent all that money to buy that Frankenstein from Bo, I really need to build a scene worthy of it. And we also need to make a lot of changes here to this slaughterhouse thing and bring it a little bit more up to the standards that I want things to be at. So I said, okay, I'll do one more and that's it. So, you never say never. Maybe I'll do a haunt tour next year because I'll get some crazy idea, want to build something crazy, and I'll say, yeah, you know what, I changed my mind. But I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be like looking to get a second house in another state and spend a lot of my time doing something other than this. I love it, you know. And when you look at all these cool things, you know, and we've added a ton more cool things since Transworld, because I went to a show called Mass Fest and we added all this cool stuff all over the place. I love all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love all of it. Okay. And I got this Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I built a secret bar, and I'm just like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I love all this stuff. But there's a point when you say to yourself, there's no room to put anything. And you're just spending money just to spend it. It's almost like you're just doing it to rub it in a way. Because in my opinion, the darkness is like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, only for Halloween. So you know, hopefully you understand what I'm saying and you believe what I'm saying. But so we're going to do this on tour. We're going to go all out, and we would appreciate, and we do appreciate anyone who buys a ticket and comes, and we look forward to seeing you. Until then, I will have another video here in a few days, but for now, that's it. Have a happy few days until we make another video, and we'll see you again.